First question, how do you prepare for taxes, federal and state?
Get a federal tax
Mhm.
ID number. It is free. They start charging taxes by the penny. So get a tax ID and keep good record because at the end of the year or the end of the quarter, you're going to have to come with those
Tax
records.
ID. I use Quicken, and that actually keeps track of all of my business expenses. Because the one thing I will definitely say, if you are an entrepreneur and you're doing, let's say, some of your clients with a 1099, you're not paying any taxes. So you need to make sure that you have enough expenses and deductions to counterbalance out. You can actually look up on IRS website and get an idea of the percentage of taxes that you should be putting aside. Also, putting some money aside for Social Security, paying
Yes.
state tax and unemployment. You really, because if anything ever happens, you want to make sure that you've kind of put money in that little bank.
So did you guys set up an LLC, sole
No.
proprietor, S corp? What did you guys set up?
LLC over here
Okay.
because I actually took a class and it explained it, it broke it down. And the difference is LLC, they can't come after your personal property, right? When you get an LLC, if the business goes under, it happens and you owe people, the government can't come for your house because it's not a business asset. A lot of people think sole proprietorship is the way to go. And I've even heard people say, well, I don't own anything, but you will.
I did LLC as well, and it was only a couple of $100 if I remember, because I kind of just renewed it. I also filed for trademark and registered my name, the business name. So that's another thing. You definitely want to make sure that you're actually looking on patents and trademarks, and you want to make sure you are checking to see, does anyone else have your name for the product that you are actually selling.
The first business that I had, I did as an S corp. It was just too complicated in terms
Yes.
of keeping track of all of the paperwork and the filing that
Yes.
you had to do.
Yeah.
But my second one is an LLC. I am electing to file taxes as an S corp because it protects your money better instead of putting it with your personal
Yeah.
money. We are not accountants.
Right.
We're
We are
not
not.
CPAs.
Right.
So speak with your accountant or your
Yes.
CPA and see the
Yes.
best way to structure your business.
As tedious as it sounds, you do have to keep up what's latest in tax law. That's just a necessary thing if you want to not be audited.
And I was ordered at one time. It is not fun. I think we had to go about 7 years back, which
Mhm.
is insane. Listen, keep your records, keep all your receipts,
Mhm.
file it on like a weekly, monthly basis and make sure
Mhm.
you have everything. And you can hire people to do it for you. But if you're starting out,
And
probably do it yourself. Yeah.
like Letitia said, QuickBooks, Quicken,
Yes.
if
Yeah.
you can't afford that software, Excel does wonders with math. You can break your Excel sheet down into categories and you know what's going out, you know what's coming in. Just set aside that one day where you compile all of your stuff for that month. I use Square and they do very good with keeping the records for me, right? Look at the tools on your website. Look at the tools on your PayPal has a similar tool if you
Yes, it
accept
does.
PayPal.
Stripe as well. Most places that collect money because they have to report it as well. They
Absolutely.
keep records for you. So just use that to your advantage. Yeah. This leads us into the next question. Do you set aside funds or do you pay quarterly or do you pay annually?
Right
Oh,
now I
for
pay
tax.
annually. I pay
I've been
annually.
paying annually, but going forward, I would like to start paying quarterly because I've heard that it's better in terms of keeping track of everything and
Yeah.
it's better in terms of taxes, how much they tax and what they tax.
And along with that, we keep talking about the money you bring in. Keep a record of the money you put out. It's just as important to keep
Right.
track of the money you put out because you'd be surprised at things that you can write off. Every time I buy business cards or stickers or labels or envelopes, all of those things go into that spreadsheet. Speak with an accountant if you have one. TurboTax is really
Yes.
good
Right, right.
with your
Yeah.
business taxes, pretty inexpensive as far as taxes go if you can't afford an actual accountant. Look into TurboTax, look into H&R Block, look into these places that offer these discounts on how to do your taxes because it's tedious, but you don't want to get caught in an audit.
So we're going to move on to the next question. How did you access startup funding?
For me, my startup funding was whatever extra money I had laying
Yep.
around to invest into my
Yeah.
business.
That's yeah.
I mean, my family, they helped me when I was doing like shows and, setting up stuff and all that stuff.
The bulk of that money is going to come out of your pocket. So it's another thing you want to think about. Think about how much you can really put out there. How much can you really afford to invest in this
Right.
business? Because it's more than than just the making of your product. I wait until the site that I get my labels from has 40% off sale, right? And then I
Right.
stock up. So it's just little things like that that you have to think about. Think about buying in bulk where you can. Think about wholesalers where you can. You're making bags. Some great wholesalers where you could get zippers for like 79 cents. Really, really research.
Question everything because that's how you learn and that's how you do the best thing that's going to work for you.
A lot of these web hosts have now built these things into their platform. So you don't have to have several different things to get your newsletter out, to get your emails out, to get your receipts printed. You can do it all in one place, which is great.
Tish, didn't
I
you
would
at one point get funding for like machines for something?
I actually got a mini grant. So I filled out a grant application, won the grant, and received to start a sewing camp to purchase 16 machines, a bunch of fabric, and they kept renewing it. So the first year I got the sewing machines, the fabric, and I had the classes free. Then the next year we ordered more fabric, more patterns. So that's how I did the Sewing Academy. But with the Keeping You in Stitches and the consulting, I actually applied for a checking account through Navy Federal. When I was getting my invoices, I wasn't using it all the time. I was sending the invoices to my personal account. I'm like, if you don't send it to your business account, because with Navy Federal, it's all about community, and they like to see the money come in and you paying the bills and everything in order to get the business credit card. But also with the business credit card, you also need to have a really good business credit score. But you can start out really small by like 3 different types of companies that you can open up business accounts. They will report to your business credit agencies and they will help to build up your score. Uline, Granger, and I can't remember what the other one is, but you can actually order supplies through there. They generally like to do like a net 30. You pay the bill like within 30 days. And every time you pay it, they're reporting to the credit agencies. That's like the bottom tier entry level of how I would say if you really want to get business credit to start. If you do that for about maybe 6 months, your credit score will begin to go up, and then you can actually try to apply for business credits and credit cards or business loans.
And to piggyback on that, I know Amazon has a business site where you can apply to be a business account holder. And Square and PayPal both have checking accounts where you get this business checking account, you get the credit card, you use that credit card for your business.
Another question to us, how did you find the grant to get just the machines?
Actually, so DC government actually puts out, I want to say maybe every month, they put out a newsletter of a list of all of the grants that are available based on, let's say, education, arts. You have to look out for it and really get the emails, the newsletters, and make sure you just stay on top of what's coming out, when the closing cycle is. But also, even writing a grant can be a bit intimidating. So Fiverr, get some help to write and apply for grants because it can be quite intimidating. Also with the federal government, you can actually apply for grants and loans and small business grants and applications from the federal government.
Because I've also gotten a creative grant from the DC government, and they do this grant every year. So you have to use it towards your business. Another thing that people forget is you do have to report. You don't have to report with receipts or say what you've done with it. Just follow the instructions to the letter.
Yes.
And they will give you that grant. Every word they type, you type.
You can literally get a grant for just about everything.
We all get 50 million emails a day. Put those grant emails at the priority. Get a separate email address for your business, just for your grant information, just for your pop-up information. If you apply for your domain name, take that domain name and get an email address.
There's another question, such when pricing your merchandise service, do you use a formula? And how do you set your profit margins?
Unfortunately, we don't have those high priced names yet. And so we can't charge $300 and $400 for certain things. If I'm putting a lot of work into it, like if I'm making a custom jacket or something like that, yes, I'm charging a lot because the materials are also different. Some of the vinyl and vegan leather I use might run me $30 a yard. So you have to factor that in.
When I was doing product, when I was actually making things, what I did was cost of goods sold. So basically all of my fabric, notions, all that stuff, put all that together, put the rate together, the hourly rate, how long it took, and basically triple that. So say for instance, everything costs $10. So you would charge 30. You'll charge 20 for wholesale if you're selling to stores, but actually you would charge 40 for retail because wholesaler is going to double what they pay. So say for instance, they buying it from you for $20, they're going to sell it for 40. So you have to sell it for 40 on your site. And in terms of services for my agency, the Region Design Agency, I have packages. So I don't charge hourly, I charge per package. But when I do freelance, I do charge per hour. I give them a range and per hour, and that's it. It depends on the service, it depends on the product, and depends on what you're selling.
Don't be afraid to ask for what you think your stuff is worth. Don't be afraid. I had a $10 item the other day, and the girl's like, $10 for this? Well, I guess since it's handmade. And I was like, but you don't have to buy it.
Wow.
You're going to get people who are telling you that your things are too expensive. You're also going to get people who are telling you you're not charging.
And you'd have to be comfortable with how much you're charging. As long as you're making money on your product and you're not just breaking even, you'll be fine.
And you have to be comfortable saying, no, I'm not going to give you a discount. When you're selling a product and you're doing pop-ups, a lot of people tend to think that small business owners are desperate for money and will take anything. And most of us are not. Most of us know our worth, and it takes us a while to get there. When you're selling a product and you're doing pop-ups, a lot of people tend to think that
can haggle.
Small business owners are desperate, for money and will take anything. But you know what your products are worth. You know what that labor was like. You know what blood, sweat, and tears you put into it. So don't be afraid to say, no, I can't sell it for that. And don't say, I'm sorry when you say, no, I can't sell it for that. Don't apologize.
So if you have any questions on anything fashion business related, please send it to us via email, via Instagram, or reach out to one of us on our websites and just let us know. We will be glad to answer all of your questions.
I'm Letitia Winston of Keeping Your Stitches with Naima Doja of Fearless Threads and Zahir Abdul Karim with Region Design Agency and Cover Me Sheep. Next time.